But before all of that, our next guest was once considered a pillar of his community, a police hero awarded for his bravery after risking his own life to save a drowning woman.
But PC Lorne Castle's glistening career came to an abrupt end last month when he was permanently dismissed for gross misconduct over his handling of the detention of a 15-year-old in Bournemouth.
The former officer now says his life has been destroyed after police bodycam footage of the incident captured him swearing at the boy and threatening physical harm.
So, was it a brutal abuse of police power or a terrified officer who took things too far? Lorne Castle joins us now. Morning, Lorne.
Good morning.
Coming in this morning. We really appreciate you having here to talk about this. It's something that, as you've described, has changed your life immeasurably. Take us back to that day of the incident when it happened. You were on duty. There'd been a gang attack in the area a few days previously, hadn't there?
Yes, so 2 days prior there'd been a large incident where there's a gang attack using lots of weapons, knives, machetes. People went to hospital. And we were on an early shift starting at 7 till 6 that day. So we had a briefing in the morning that said, be aware of what's happened 2 days prior, and there are potentially some still outstanding suspects who may be carrying weapons.
So the atmosphere would have been quite febrile anyway, because there's a sense that you've got to try and find these suspects that were still out there. How did you come into contact with the suspect?
It was towards the end of our shift. The town cameras had radioed across the radio channel we get in our ear that there'd been an assault on an elderly male by an individual. They followed that individual for a while. That individual was then reported to be in some way, shape or form involved in another fracas where a 14-year-old had to be locked inside McDonald's for their own safety. And then the town cameras directed me towards that individual.
Right. And so where did you find him and what happened next?
So the individual was walking up a hill as we were on approach. Yeah. I decided to do a silent approach because it was stated that the individual had already made off from town rangers prior. Exited the car, and I think what you see is on the body cam from that point.
Did he try and get away?
My aim, which was initially successful, was to apprehend him before he had a chance to make that choice or not. I decided and believed that he may do, so that's why I went on a silent approach. My initial aim was to apprehend him against the wall so that it decreased his options for escape and also any attack potentially on me.
We're going to show the viewers the body cam footage, which can be quite shocking, so please be warned that it's very aggressive and there's some strong language in it as well. Before we do it, what's your take on what happened in that moment where you were trying to detain the suspect?
In all honesty, I went in with the best intentions of arresting a potentially violent individual with no injuries and getting them in. My aim was to restrain him against a wall. The individual attempted to duck away and get away, which can be seen in slow motion on it. The incident went to the ground, which is a very scary place to be when there is a crowd around, which there was. And from that point on is where I acted a bit panicked, out of fear, not my proudest moment, but it was out of self-preservation. And
Lorne, at this point, you didn't know he was 15 and he was masked as well?
At that point, it was just described as a masked individual. He'd been referred to as driving an e-scooter dangerously through town as well, and you have to be at least 16 to drive one of the e-scooters in town.
OK. And there was any suggestion that he was carrying a weapon at all?
No, and that's a really good point. There was no suggestion. If there was a suggestion this individual had a weapon and was also violent, it would have been a much greater threat. So it would have been dealt with potentially by firearms, or I would have considered a taser option that I had, which is a distance one. But that's where the danger lies for every police officer, in the unknown. So you are trying to apprehend an unknown danger, you know, so that's it. Yeah.
OK, well, we're going to play the footage now. You may find this distressing, but this is the body cam footage of Lorne making this, detaining this suspect.
You're under arrest! You're under arrest! Get on the floor!
Get down on the
now!
Get down on the floor!
Now! Get down! Shove your down!
What have I done?
Shove your down! Now!
What have I done?
Right!
What have I done?
Where you are!
Wait,
now!
I've done nothing!
Put your behind your son!
I can't!
Right.
I've done nothing!
Right!
I've done nothing!
Stop screaming like a...
Nothing!
Do you understand that?
What have I done?
Shut up!
Honestly, what have I done?
So the panel findings where you treated the suspect with disrespect. There is certainly a sense of the energy, and you can see the aggression with which you were taking down. How do you feel when you watch the footage?
Obviously, I feel disappointed in my language on there. However, I know in my heart of hearts and my true mind that there was no bad intention any way through, which is why I've continued to give my side. If I'd have paused, hesitated, or maybe given a moment for that individual to make a move, which, as you can see, if you're watching in slow motion, he does actually break free from my colleague's hand. His hand goes down towards his belt at one point, which is where the knife fell from later on. I don't know what might have happened. And it was the unknown. My intention was use the minimum force to keep myself and everyone there safe.
The suspect didn't make a complaint, actually.
No.
The complaint was made by a colleague of yours. Why did they do that?
I can't speak for other colleagues, but I think maybe some police officers haven't been in maybe situations like that before, so it's shocking for them as well. And the role plays you do in training maybe aren't as real as they are on the street, on the hard concrete. If you look at it, I'm the one that realises every movement he's doing, rather than I realise when his hands comes free. I'm the one that shouts to the crowd, get back. I'm the one that radios for other people. And even when he's in cuffs, and it took 4 of us in the end to get him into cuffs. So he was restraining that hard when I was there, but even when other officers got there, it took 4 of us to get him in cuffs. So that shows the resistance I was against. I was still aware there was potential danger. I'm the one that saw where the knife came out. So I think the experience I've had, and also being in, unfortunately, similar situations prior, my risk assessment is different. But everyone does their own individual risk assessment, so I can't really comment for them. In
that moment, we can see you forcibly put your hand towards his face and his throat, and also you use that phrase, I'm going to smash you. These are the things, I mean, the words that you said, you're not proud of the words that you used. When you look at that footage, can you explain why you use your hands like that? And can you understand why you use those words?
Yeah, so in police training, we are taught to warn a suspect first before delivering any strikes, because it's a preventative tactic. We use the word strike, I use the word smash. It came out of panic and fear. Now, I can't really go into the schematics of the movements, but it wasn't deemed excessive for trying to hold him, to get him away. We turn the face away from us for many reasons in the police, and that's what one of the tactics I do. You can actually see I keep the triangle over the ear, which is what we're doing to keep the senses open. So in those panicking few seconds, I am actually trying my best to do the best for this individual. He's trying his best to get away or to discard his knife. I believe he knows he's got. I don't know at that point. I don't know what he's doing. I don't know what he's trying to get away from. All I know is at that point, I've arrested him. My first words when I went in weren't obscene. You hear from the car, you're under arrest, not you're under arrest. So I didn't start off like that. I started off with the intention of quite a forceful, authoritative arrest, which I believe it needed because of the behaviour I had heard that he had exhibited before. I was told in an interview, you could have walked up to him and said, "Excuse me, sir, can we have a chat from the front?" I mean, the guy was wearing a balaclava, a mask. He'd been reported to have attacked 2 people. If I took him by an arm, we ran a campaign called One Punch Can Kill. We'd already reported to have punched someone. I feared he might have at least lashed out at me. I didn't know he had a knife, no. But I've been bitten, I've been spat at, I've had my testicles grabbed, I've had a thumb tried to break when I've held someone. You don't have to have a weapon to be really dangerous. You just have to be unpredictable and have no limits. And I don't know who I'm approaching when they're masked up. And it's also in that moment as well. But you've had 10 years with an exemplary record. You've won bravery awards. I'm a good person. And you know, I go into every shift with the intention of doing the right thing from the first minute to the, well, usually I'm off late, and whoever's screwed with me is off late as well, was screwed with me, to do the best intentions. And that's why I knew, well, it doesn't matter, Lorne, you just keep telling the truth, because it's not going to be criminal. You had no bad intention. There was no excessive force. I was genuinely doing the best I could do, as with any job I've done so far. And that's why I think the outpouring of support from me is not only from people I've worked with, previous victims that I've helped, I run external sports clubs as well as a separate business interest, and I've taught for many years prior to the police, people who have actually helped in their life become a better person, and they appreciate that. And you know, I'm really thankful, because now they're all in my corner. You know, they're all coming back to me, and I couldn't have got through without that.
This is what Dorset Police have said about your sacking. The independent panel found that PC Castle failed to act with self-control during the incident. He did not treat the 15-year-old with courtesy or respect. At times, our officers are required to use force to prevent offences and protect the public, their colleagues and themselves. PC Castle's actions were excessive, aggressive and inappropriate. PC Castle has let the police service and his colleagues down, and it's important to reiterate that he does not represent the staff of Dorset Police. Tackling unethical or unacceptable behaviour remains a force priority. The formal written outcome of the hearing will be published in due course. What do you make of that?
A bit disappointed. Even if I'd have done one thing wrong, after 10 years of exemplary service, it would have been nice for him to say, look, Officer Castle has been a great officer. However, on this occasion, you know, didn't meet the standards, however, and done it. Like, I've been a good guy, you know, and that, I think, is very cold. When it says excessive sort of courtesy and respect, I've taught children for a long time. I can't, in my heart of hearts, say in public, just to save my job, that you can mask yourself up, go out sort of attacking people and carry a knife, and at that point, when you're arrested, you're still resisting, you deserve respect. That's not. I'm not saying you don't deserve respect down the line, but you're making some wrong choices. And you know, you've got to look at those choices and think, well, can I make better choices?
We need to make a point that the suspect was not, didn't do anything wrong, and he wasn't found of doing anything wrong, obviously, apart from the carrying of the knife, which we appreciate is a very serious thing in itself.
Yeah.
I wonder how you feel about the releasing of the body cam footage, because that is quite stark, isn't it? You can admit to that.
Oh, 100% it is. And a lot of people, you know, that's why the police are here. We go out so that members of the general public, with any luck, do not have to see that sort of thing, do not have to face that sort of thing. But the outpouring I've had from police, that's not as uncommon as you would believe against a potentially violent resisting offender. So it is shocking that they've released it, and also it's just one view, one piece of evidence. You know, they didn't say there was a witness phoned in at the time to say deliberately, there's an officer on his own, I'm concerned for his safety, because there is a crowd yelling and gathering around him. You know, they didn't say what the suspect was, what the individual, what I had in my mind that he may have been proved, so may have been involved in. So they didn't really give my mindset. They just showed bang, bang. And I don't think that's fair. You know, I'm well known in the community, and people that don't know me, you can make a one-sided judgment, and that's why I'm here, and I really thank you for this, because I need to show people I'm not what they see in that 40 seconds.
What's this done to your life, do you think, Lorne?
You know, I'm still on a roller coaster because, you know, a year and a half ago this happened, so I've been on restricted duties, which for me is almost, you know, I don't know how to handle that, a little bit shameful. I had a ruling that said I'm not allowed face-to-face contact. I had to stay in like a separate office and work aside. I've never had, you know, I've been lucky enough never to have sort of mental health problems, but I tell you that I was so depressed. Even my children know it. They're saying to the mum, Dad's not Dad, why is he not happy? It's really hard to be happy. And then the hearing, it destroyed me. You know, they ripped me apart with allegations.
But you have got some public support through the GoFundMe group as well that's going on, particularly as knife crime is through the roof at the moment. So you must feel a sense of support from that.
And yeah, the tide turned. When the allegations were released on day one, press was really against me. But I think people saw through the actual heart of heart and the intention of me and saw I was a good officer doing what the public want. You know, I've had so many messages, go out there, Lorne. We want to empower the police to go out and tackle what we're scared of. And the messages of success, of support, have been really uplifting. And the GoFundMe set up by one of my former chief inspectors, who knows me from my first start, has made such a difference, because I've gotten a job, I'm unemployed. I use teaching sports, but using kids, that now is up in the air because of allegations. People don't know. You know, they see it in the press and think, oh, maybe there's something going on behind closed doors. Maybe he's not as nice as he seems. And if I put my CV out now, it's going to be trumped by everything on the national media. So that has really been a lifeline. I genuinely thank everybody for this, and that's why I'm here, because it's not only for me. This is for every officer that walks that thin blue line, because you go to a job, you don't know what it is. It's an unknown risk. Anything from a shoplifter to a domestic, anything. You don't know what they're going to do. And it's either, it could be, am I going to get attacked or am I going to get a complaint? And you manage to balance that. And you think, phew, I didn't get either. You don't get any thanks. No. You go back, you've got to write it up quickly. Yeah, there's another job coming in, can you do that? You pack it away. All the trauma, all the nerves, you pack it away. After your shift, you go home. You might go maybe a couple of hours with your family. Yeah. You've got to put it away, because your family want to see the real you, not the you that's thinking about what's happened. No. And then you bury it, because it's yesterday. And then the next day it's an upload. Yeah.
Well, look, Lorne, thank you for coming in and sharing your story. We do appreciate you
spoke so eloquently.
Being honest with us as well. We can see how distressing it has been, clearly. We'd love to know what you thought as well. Do get in touch. We're going to be discussing this a little bit later on with Giles and Camilla, aren't we?
Yeah.
In Morning View. Let us know what you think about the situation. We're going to take a short break. Thank you, Dawn. That was good to have you.
Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload new content every day, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out. And we'll see you in the morning.